The sheriff announcing 8 arrests from a violent drug trafficking group. 1 remains wanted. They're linked to at least a dozen recent murders.
There have been 148 homicides so far this year and 466 people shot.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's KB and we locked in. Now let's jump into it. Today, we're going to be talking about ATK Scotty, who is a member of Young and Ace's ATK gang out of Jacksonville, Florida, and we're going to be taking a look at the crazy story behind him. We're also going to be taking a look at some recently released interrogation footage, and I'm going to break it down for y'all piece by piece. ATK Scotty, real name Leroy Whitaker, is a straight up savage coming out of Jacksonville, Florida. Some blogs and news outlets have referred to him as a rapper, but Scotty ain't even close to being a rapper. Instead, he chose a different path in life, opting to become a barbarian in the streets of Jacksonville. Not a lot is known about Scotty's childhood, and while he himself never took to the mic to make a hit and instead was making hits in the streets, he is very close with a rapper who did make hits on record and arguably the biggest rapper to ever come out of Jacksonville, Young and Ace. Scotty and Ace are lifelong friends, and it's this relationship that would build one of the most incredible, diabolical, and confusing story arcs to come out of the rap game in a while. So y'all buckle up, because before the end of the video, you guys will be completely familiar with ATK Scotty, the situations and crimes that he's been involved in, and how it's all tied to a bigger picture. Now, as usual, in order to understand Scotty, I think it's important we lay the foundation and take a look at where he came from, because that always helps paint a better picture of how these people end up in the situations they're in. Jacksonville is situated in the northeast corner of Florida and is absolutely massive. That's because Jacksonville actually integrated with the greater Duval County, creating a new territory known as the city of Jacksonville in Duval County, which made it the most populated area in all of Florida. Jacksonville is no stranger to criminal gang activity, although I found that the city doesn't really have traditional gangs like the Bloods and the Crips, even though they did in the past, but instead nowadays it kind of just has neighborhood cliques that operate in the same capacity as a gang, just on a local level, and these cliques have been getting active for years. In fact, Jacksonville has notoriously been nicknamed Murderville, and 9 times out of 10, if you look at a list of the most dangerous places to live in Florida, Jacksonville will be on that list at the top damn near every time. Checking in on the homicide data from the first 6 months of 2022, records show 79 homicides. Some of these cases are still pending classification, according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office homicide database. Florida is also one of these states that have super relaxed gun laws. So unsurprisingly, shootings are the main cause of death in Jacksonville, with at least 91% of all homicides that happened in the area involving a firearm, and most of which involved the smaller street cliques that I was telling y'all about earlier. And over the last few years, one of these cliques has become infamous and has also been linked to several dozen serious crimes. That clique is ATK, and ATK is home to the topic of today's video, ATK Scotty. Now, in order to understand Scotty, I gotta give you guys some background. Now, I don't intend on covering the whole Jacksonville war, but I do gotta lay some foundation here. So, ATK is an abbreviation that, well, depending on who you ask, stands for Ace's Top Killers or Aim to Kill, or it could just simply stand for Attack shortened. ATK is a gang that is basically centered around one rapper, Young and Ace. Young and Ace was born in Chicago but grew up in Jacksonville. Early on in Ace's life, at around the age of 14, he found himself running with a local group called Youngin' Gang. Youngin' Gang was started by 2 other rappers in the area, Flip the Youngin' and Trigger Romo. Ace can even be seen as far back as 2017 appearing on a song titled Go to War, where Ace and the Youngin' Gang can be seen flexing some blickies on camera. Actually, it was this song that sent Young and Ace into the spotlight for the first time, with this video accumulating over 100,000 views in the first week, 1 million in the first month, and over 8 million more since then. This song really solidified Ace as a top rapper coming out of the area, and he followed that song up with more, but I'm not gonna hit on all of them because again, this story isn't about Ace. I'm trying not to focus too much on him, but he plays such a crucial part in this story. So from here, I'm gonna try to move a little fast just to lay out exactly what ATK is. Now, Youngin Ace is originally out of Orange Park on the west side of Jacksonville, but after a diabolical hit that took the life of several of his friends that we'll talk about later in this story, Ace would begin to click up with other people in cliques from the east side and southwest sides of the city. The east side represented a gang called 1200, which included people like Spinner Benz and Whopper with a Chopper. And the southwest side had a gang called NHG, which stands for No Hospital Gang. Now, Young and Ace's crew joined forces with these two gangs, creating the hybrid gang that is ATK. This hybrid group allegedly terrorized the city of Jacksonville for a few summers, and Young and Ace was able to build a legitimate rap career off the back of the violence. A key member of this group that Young and Ace formed is ATK Scotty. ATK Scotty is also known as Scotty 33 and Scotty Pippen, being named after a famous basketball player because you know, he's a shooter. Scotty never dropped any bangers in the studio, and that may be because according to the streets, he was busy dropping bodies. Acting as one of Young and Ace's closest friends, Scotty allegedly participated and carried out numerous crimes on behalf of ATK while Young and Ace was making his come up in the rap game, and the story behind ATK Scotty is absolutely crazy. One last thing before we move on to the next chapter. After it was all said and done, ATK consisted of several members. This included some of Ace's day one homies like Young and Ace himself, ATK Scotty, Flip the Youngin, Trigger Romo, Quan, 23, Kobe, aka 4, Fast Money Goon, Rollo, D De Niro, Ray Spaz, Trey Shorty, Crazy K, and Sosa. Plus, it had 3 new members from NHG, which was Boss Goon, Queso, and ATK Beezy. These are the members that make up ATK in its entirety. And ATK has been having a deadly rivalry with another group out of Jacksonville named KTA. KTA, an acronym for Kill Them All, is another gang coming out of Jacksonville with heavy influence in the city, and they've also been linked to numerous crimes in the city as well. KTA's head member is Julio Fulio. Julio Fulio is another very popping rapper to come out of Jacksonville with songs that do millions of streams each time they're released. And to make the long story short here, Fulio is tied with KTA, and KTA is kind of like a hybrid gang just like ATK is. Comprised of several groups, but mainly being a branch off of an older group called PCE or Problem Child Entertainment. And the first hint of beef that I could find between ATK and this group of individuals is back in 2016 when a drive-by shooting occurred that took the life of a 22-month-old baby named Aiden McLendon. Investigators were able to link bullets back to PCE, and shortly after in 2017, they unsealed an indictment against PCE that saw most of its members being locked up for several murders and some serious firearm charges. This 22-month-old baby was apparently a direct relative of 2 members I mentioned earlier that are affiliated with ATK. Whopper with a Chopper and Spinner Benz. This is clearly where the heat got turned up a notch, and while this is the point that I was able to mark as where things go really sideways, this drive-by that took the life of that baby was apparently PCE members trying to get back at a rival, so there was obviously some kind of beef before this incident, but this incident right here changed the whole dynamic. Julio Fulio is from the north side of Memphis, what he refers to as being the most dangerous side, more specifically, the Hilltop Village Apartments. Julio reps a local street gang called 6 Block, and 6 Block consists of a bunch of members just like ATK. After PCE was busted, 6 Block merged with a few other groups, mostly Y&R, and they made their own hybrid gang, which is now KTA. That's the shortest version I can give of these events and groups, but I think you get the idea. It's ATK versus KTA, and it's this beef that ATK Scotty would put everything on the line for. And I've been able to identify a few key events that ATK Scotty was a part of that really helped ramp up the violence that was happening in the city, and one of these events was the death of Zion Brown.
In a shooting that killed an 18-year-old and injured a teenager and a 9-year-old girl. This happened on the west side at this house on Saturday.
On May 27, 2017, law enforcement responded to calls of a shooting that had taken place on the west side of Jacksonville in the city's Cedar Hill Estates neighborhood. When investigators arrived, they discovered a gruesome crime scene where 2 teenagers, an 18-year-old male and a 16-year-old female, and a 9-year-old girl had been shot. The 16-year-old female, Stanteria Brown, recalled the incident, stating to police that she was asleep in the living room when she was woken up by a loud crashing sound coming from the sliding glass door that was by their kitchen. Apparently, the assailant in this crime had threw a brick through the sliding glass door in order to gain entry into the property. She said she yelled for her brother, 18-year-old Zion Brown, then ran to the back to call the police. After placing the call and getting her brother, she returned to the living room to see what was going on, where she saw a man wearing a red hoodie sitting on the couch she was just sleeping on. When he saw Stanteria and her brother, he whipped out a gun and opened fire on them. She said they tried to drop to the ground while the man was shooting, and she even tried to hide behind a couch, but despite her best efforts to evade the bullets, she was still shot in the leg. Her brother Zion was also shot and passed away as a result of his injuries. But before he died, Stanteria said Zion named an ATK member named Trey Shorty as the shooter before praying to God to not let him die. There was also a third victim in this incident as well, which is a 9-year-old girl. She was shot 5 different times, with one of the bullets hitting her in the neck. She was Zion and Stanteria's little cousin. Trey Shorty was arrested for the incident, and due to his affiliation with ATK, it was about to make this story take a dramatic turn. That's because Zion Brown was also cousins with another person we touched on earlier, Jacksonville rapper Julio Fulio. And the death of Zion Brown took this beef to a whole new level. Once Julio and his KTA affiliates got word of what happened, it was time to get some revenge. So word on the street was that Trey Shorty wasn't the only person present during the Zion Brown incident. Apparently, there was another man there that broke into the house as well that night, and that person was suspected at the time to be Youngin Ace. Now, Ace was never arrested or charged with anything because of Zion Brown, but that's what the word on the streets was, and it was because of this word that Ace and everybody affiliated with ATK would become targets for KTA. On June 5, 2018, Youngin Ace and a few of his close friends went to the Wasabi Japanese steakhouse to get some dinner and have a good time. Something Youngin Ace had said they never normally do, but they just wanted to have some fun because it was one of the ATK members named 23's birthday, so they were going to the Wasabi shop. They can even be seen in these social media posts at the Wasabi Steakhouse. Well, apparently, these social media posts were a terrible idea because ATK had ops watching their socials and waiting to get their location. Anyways, Ace makes these posts and then they go in and enjoy their dinner. When they got done inside, the crew headed out to the parking lot to leave. Ace hopped into a car with 2-3 and his brother Quan and another ATK member named 4, and the crew left the parking lot. They only made it to the red light right outside the restaurant before another car pulled up beside them, and it was at this moment that the window rolled down on that car and the people inside it hung out the window with their guns and opened fire before speeding off. Now, exactly how many shots were fired is unknown, but word on the streets was over 120 shots had been fired at the group. Youngin Ace, the leader of ATK, was shot over 8 times, but in what can only be described as a miracle, survived the attack. The same couldn't be said for everybody else. Ace's little brother Quan was hit 3 times in total, one of those being a headshot. 2-3 was shot 5 times and 4 was shot 12 times. All 3 of them passed away. ATK took a major loss this day, and there was at least one person that was furious about it, and it didn't take long for him to start getting his get back. ATK Scotty was close with every member of ATK, but was especially close with the ones who died outside of that Wasabi restaurant, Quan, 2-3, and 4. No arrests were ever made by the dumbass Jacksonville police for this, but Scotty apparently knew exactly who did it, because not long after this, Scotty and another ATK affiliate named Queso made their way to KTA territory. Before going, they stopped and picked up 2 other ATK members, Rollo and another unidentified person. The unidentified person actually turned out to be a snitch and has been turning over information to the government about the events that are about to take place in this story. Anyways, so the 4 of them were in the car on February 25th, 2019, and these ATK members would find themselves on 6th Block by the Hilltop Village apartments that Fulio grew up in. Once they were there, they quickly spotted 2 KTA members, one named Bibby and the other named Pop Out, standing under a gazebo. Scotty and Queso popped out of a gray Nissan Maxima, Scotty carrying an AR-style rifle and Queso carrying an AR-style pistol, probably a Draco. Once out of the car, they would run up on Bibby and Pop Out and open fire. Bibby and Pop Out tried to take off running in the opposite direction, but Scotty started chasing after Pop Out and Queso started chasing after Bibby. Pop Out was able to successfully escape and evade the event, but he left his homie behind and Queso was hawking Bibby down. Bibby tripped and Queso approached him and let off 1 round to the back of Bibby's head. Queso and Scotty would hop back in the Nissan Maxima, leaving Bibby dead on the scene. Bibby was only 16 years old at the time. Following the death of Bibby, 6th Block and KTA affiliates were out for revenge. On March 10, 2019, Young and Ace and his ATK gang were in Waycross, Georgia, chilling in a parking lot of a hotel when they were hit with an ambush-style attack. Scotty and Queso were in that parking lot, and according to reports, multiple shooters ran up on the group and opened fire, but Scotty, being the savage he is, didn't even flinch. Instead, he started shooting back, and Queso joined in as well. Queso talked about this incident in a song titled Being Dead, where he raps, "Shoulda killed me in Waycross, they hopped out with them K's, me and Scotty busting back, yeah we on the same page." When the police arrived on the scene of the shooting, they found ATK member Rollo by the hotel's pool with multiple gunshot wounds to his torso, and he was pronounced dead on the scene. Rollo is the guy who was in the car with Queso and Scotty when they killed Bibby. To make it even worse, Scotty, who was only 18 at this point, was arrested by investigators at the scene and charged with possession of marijuana, reckless conduct, and possession of a firearm without a permit. A terrible way to end the night. So earlier in the story, we talked about Zion Brown getting hit, and his sister and 9-year-old cousin was also victims of that crime. Well, 2 years after Zion Brown's death, and the man they arrested for it named Trey Shorty was set to go to trial. Zion's sister, Stanteria, was set to be the star witness in this case, but things were about to take another twisted turn. Apparently, Trey Shorty had been sending threats to her from jail, saying that if she testified about what happened and identified him in court, she would be killed. Terrible threat to make, but ATK stood on that threat. Stanteria was shot over 14 times one day before she was set to testify, and it was clear to pretty much everybody what message was being sent here. Shortly after, Stanteria's mother made a Facebook post claiming to know who did it, and the person she named was ATK Scotty. Now again, the dumbass Jacksonville police ended up making an arrest, but it wasn't Scotty who got booked. Instead, it was another ATK affiliate named YBZ. YBZ was eventually cleared of these charges after he was able to prove that he was at a basketball tournament at the time it happened. And Stanteria's mom, in that Facebook post, says she thinks the police simply got YBZ and Scotty mixed up since they kinda look alike, but Scotty was never charged for the incident. The Jacksonville police seem to have dropped the ball over and over again on this case, and it was because of this incompetence that Scotty remained free. On January 15, 2020, a Jacksonville police officer watched as a suspect at 7001 Mural Road stood over another person with a rifle and opened fire, executing the person on the spot. The police then witnessed that person take off running, hopping into a gray Nissan Maxima and speeding away. The man that was executed was a guy named Lil Buck, who was a 6th Block member and an affiliate of KTA. Lil Buck died as a result of the attack. Since this was in broad daylight and there were plenty of witnesses to the event, you would think that they would know exactly who did this. But when the person took off running, the police officer pursued the vehicle in what became a high-speed chase across the city, eventually ending in the Nissan crashing in a residential area and 3 suspects jumping out of the vehicle, running away on foot. The officer tried to chase the suspect, but as you can guess, after eating one extra donut for breakfast that morning, the Jacksonville police officer was unsuccessful and the suspects got away. Fast forward a little bit, and a woman named Barbara Buckley was inside of her home in the restroom, enjoying her privacy. She says when she came out, she noticed her bedroom door was closed, which was odd to her because she knew she had left it open just before going in the restroom. But thinking nothing of it, she opened the door, and inside of the room were two of the suspects that had just ran away from the police. She ordered the men to leave, but one of them, named Dominique Barner, began to choke the woman out with both hands. She fought back and was successful in removing him, but they forced her to sit on the couch as they robbed her husband's wardrobe of his clothes. They took her phone and called for a ride, and when the ride arrived, both suspects just dipped. Crime scene investigators arrived to survey the situation and was able to collect some forensic evidence from the home. Apparently, they found a single strand of hair on the woman's pajamas, and when they ran it through their database, it had a match. The hair belonged to none other than ATK Scotty. Scotty was arrested on April 15, 2020 and is currently sitting in lockup awaiting trial. He has a crazy story indeed, but there is actually one last piece of the puzzle we need to look at to make this story complete. Recently, a YouTuber named Drip Drop from a YouTube channel called Crime Circus, shout out to Drip Drop from Crime Circus, released the interrogation footage of Scotty being interrogated. And I thought as an added bonus to this video, we could review the several mistakes made by not only Scotty in this video, but also by the Jacksonville police, because it really is the cherry on top of this story. Shout out to Crime Circus and Drip Drop one more time, because I understand he spent over a year trying to obtain this footage. So if you want to watch the original and support the person who put this out, I'll put the link to the original in my description and y'all can go show Drip Drop from Crime Circus some love. Now, I've never reviewed any footage like this on my channel, but I think it'll be the last little piece we need to understand the whole story of ATK Scotty. So here we go.
Like it? Yeah, it's cold.
You say he does?
Yeah. That shit's working. You can take it up. Throw them all away. I'm gonna do that in here in a minute.
To start things off, they put him in this tiny little room to interrogate him. Police departments use this strategy not only because it makes suspects feel a little intimidated, but it also allows them to get into close quarters conversations with the suspects. Their job isn't to make you feel comfortable, but instead to make you feel nervous so that you will hopefully slip up during the conversations they have with you. He sits here in this room for a few minutes, but I would like to immediately point out something he does wrong right off the bat. While in the room by himself, he starts singing the lyrics to King Von's song, Rolling.
I just pop so many niggas that my nickname should be Rambo.
Now, just some advice for some of y'all. If you ever find yourself in an interrogation room, it's probably best to not speak at all, but especially don't start singing lyrics to drill songs, especially if the lyrics are about popping someone while you're under investigation for murder. That's just my advice, y'all, but he does this for a few more minutes.
Tuki got flip phone, man, you know how to could come. Baby, I just need a bathroom. I ain't standing there. Pause some niggas, that my nigga should be around. She's feeling no feel. Wish ran on the window. Are you tough? You ain't really tough. The other boy and Mike, Mrs. Puff, hit him minutes and watch that boy ball up. Hey, get up. You can't get up. You are giving up. I got money, boy, a lot of money. Put that on J Money. You got broke your whole hood.
Now here, it looks as if he's noticed that he's on camera, which should have been a given from the jump due to the nature of why he's here. And after noticing the camera, you would think he would stop, but nah, watch this.
Bag it up, big bag it up.
He had to get that one last lyric in. Is this not the oddest behavior, y'all? Anyway, it's about to get good.
Take the wall over. What's going on, man? Hey, I'm Detective Richardson, Detective Smith.
This is Detective Dumbass number 1, and this is Detective Dumbass number 2. Now, I normally will applaud officers for doing good work, but as the footage continues, you'll see a lot of questionable tactics being used incorrectly. In fact, during my research, if there was one thing I was disappointed with the most, it was the level of police work the officers in this department do. This could be for a variety of reasons like lack of training, but regardless, I stand on what I said. These two are very unimpressive people.
Talk to you real quick. Get you out of here as quick as possible. Alright? Alright, just spell your first name for me.
Lil Buck. L-E-R-O-Y.
What's your middle initial?
G.
Last name Whitaker, W.
H-I-T-A-K-U.
What's your address?
Said, what, like, where I stay in?
Yeah, whatever address you use.
I don't got no address right now.
No address? Where you staying at? What's your last known address?
West Street. West Street.
West Street?
Yeah.
W-S-T.
Yeah.
What side of town that's on?
West.
On the west side? Where?
Like, mid-door.
Oh, okay. What's your date of birth?
November 10th. 2000.
About how tall are you?
About 5'6".
About how much you weigh?
Like 126.
126? What's a good phone number for you?
Like, who for me? Like my people are.
Not for you, your cell phone number.
I don't got no number.
You don't have no cell phone? You got a house phone? So born 2019?
Yeah.
Alright, what's the last school you attended?
Lee.
Lee? Graduated?
Mm-hmm.
What's the last grade?
10.
So you can read it, right?
Yes.
You play football over at Lee?
I ain't play football.
I ain't play basketball? Nothing? Okay.
I found this question to be particularly interesting, and I have to give the officer props for this one. He snuck it in there like it was nothing, but what he did was very important. See, I suspect the reason behind this question was twofold. One, it helps build rapport with the suspect, but two, Scotty has just confirmed verbally to the police that he's never played sports. This is important because Scotty's other nicknames are Scottie Pippen and Scotty 33, after the famed NBA player who was a notorious shooter on the Chicago Bulls and the Portland Trail Blazers. By saying he's never played sports, he has eliminated the possibility that this was a nickname given to him because of some kind of innate ability for sports that he possesses. And all this did was leave the idea of why he would be named this up to speculation.
You under the influence of any drugs, alcohol right now? No? Alright, so you know where you're at right now?
No.
No? It's the police Police Memorial Building. We call it the PMB for short. Alright, so you say you can read and write. You can read this first line for me right here.
You got it for them, under the United States
Constitution. I read it for you. It say you have the following rights under the United States Constitution. You do not have to make a statement or say anything. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You got the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before you make a statement or before any questions are asked of you, and to have a lawyer with you during any questioning. You cannot afford to hire a lawyer, won't be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you do answer questions, you have the right to stop answering questions at any time and consult with the lawyer. You understand your rights? So I can just get you to sign right here saying that you understand your rights.
Right here. This is the exact moment that Scotty should have asked for an attorney. Here's some more advice for you guys. If you are read your Miranda rights, it's okay to acknowledge them, but never, ever speak to investigators of any kind without legal counsel. Your two most important rights in this country in situations like this are the right to remain silent and your right to an attorney. Always ask for representation first. Always. Even if you're innocent. Do not talk till you have a lawyer present.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get you out of here so you can warm up a little bit.
Remember, I told you that the intention of an interrogation room is not to make you feel comfortable, but in fact, it's quite the opposite. And this was a great time for the officer to try to build trust with the suspect, which he did perfectly by reassuring him and making it seem like he didn't want to be any more of a convenience than what he had to be.
All right, Leroy. You know why you here? You know why you here right now? No? Can't think of no reason why you here? You have an idea, possibility, anything you can think of why you would be here? Heard of any reason why you might be here? No? Okay.
This officer would love nothing more than to have Scotty self-identify why he might be a suspect, because it'll show that he has knowledge of what might be going on, and if he does that, he won't be able to say, I don't know what you're talking about, but obviously this isn't going to work this early in an interrogation.
What about, you remember anything happening in January that as to why you would be here?
January?
Yeah. Beginning of this year?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to beat around. I ain't going to beat around the bush with you. I'm just be straightforward with you and be honest with you. I hope you'll do the same with me. Just be honest with me.
Yeah.
You hear about that incident that happened with the white lady in the house?
What about it?
Over in Arlington, the Arlington area.
No. What?
No,
what?
It was a home invasion robbery.
This next part, they're talking about Scotty and the other guy who broke into that woman's house, choked her out, then stole her husband's clothes and dipped. Remember, they found Scotty's hair on that lady's pajamas.
That's why. It's best for you to be honest with me right now about the whole thing. Because if it was a mistake or you was in the house and you didn't know she was in there, that's one thing. But if you went in there and a robbed her or something like that, that's a totally different story. So that's why I want you to be honest with me, tell your side of the story about what happened and why you was in the nigga house.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Now, I wouldn't have you in here about some BS. I ain't just gonna just pull you in here unless I got solid information letting me know that, hey, yeah, he was in this house. So this your time to just be honest about the thing. Tell me what happened.
What made you think what you talking about?
Your DNA was in there.
No.
The officer made a hell of a decision here by letting Scotty know the only real piece of evidence they had against him. While this statement is truthful in nature, they have no more leverage after divulging this. Scotty denies the statement, knowing that it could be true, but the fact is that detectives can and will lie to you during an interrogation in order to extract information. At the end of the day, if they had everything they needed to put you away, there wouldn't be a reason to have a conversation with you. The only thing that a conversation with the police would do is draw you closer to being locked up, especially if you're guilty. The police are not your friends and they cannot actually help you in these interrogations. They have zero effect on the outcome of your case, but they will try anything and say anything to get you to give them more information. This is why having a lawyer present is so vital, as they can recognize these questioning patterns and stop you from self-incriminating.
I just need you to be honest with me, man. Tell me what happened.
I don't know what you're talking about. Cold fucking man.
You know what I'm talking about.
Huh?
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's cold.
A few things here. First, this officer missed a perfect opportunity to build some more trust with Scotty. When Scotty said it was cold, the officer should have got up and retrieved a blanket in order to, 1, make Scotty a little more comfortable, and 2, build a little more trust with him. This was a real missed opportunity on the detective's part. Plus, what he did was show his true intentions by desperately begging Scotty for information. Instead of focusing on the human in front of him, this detective was only focused on the case.
But don't let the evidence tell the story for you. This is your opportunity to tell your side of the story. The reason why your DNA would be inside this lady's house.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. DNA.
You know how we get DNA?
No.
No. You just touch something. Like I just touched the table right there. And I left my DNA.
Yeah.
So all we have to do is come later with a Q-tip swab right there in that area, and my DNA is gonna come back right here. So it ain't necessarily from blood or spit and all that different kind of stuff you see on TV.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is touch something. So just keep it real with me, man.
I'm telling you, bro, I don't know what you're talking about.
So you don't know nothing about what I'm talking about?
I wish I could help you. I can't. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Oh, now you ain't helping me. This is to help you. That's what I'm here for. To help you.
You helping me?
If you telling me, if you can be honest about what happened with this, did you go in trying to rob the lady? Because it's different from a burglary and a robbery. But the story I got and the evidence I got, we're going with home invasion robbery.
I don't rob people, man. That's something crazy.
See, that's why I need your side of the story.
I don't rob. I ain't never robbed nobody ever in my life.
I know you have. That's why I need you to keep it real with me and tell me what happened.
I'm gonna tell you if I don't know what. Something I don't know. I don't know. You say who? Detective who?
Richardson. Don't take a ride for a home invasion robbery without giving your side of the story about what happened. Because right now we got this lady side, and that's the only side they're speaking.
What later?
that was in the house while you was in there?
Y'all got the wrong guy, man. That's all I'm about. So I'm in charge with a robbery and a home invasion.
Your home invasion robberies all together.
This confirmation that all he is facing is a home invasion and robbery gives Scotty less of a reason to talk to the police. Remember, this happened directly after the killing of Lil Buck, and by knowing he is not facing a murder charge, it also let him know that his co-defendant isn't talking either. This confirmation really is all Scotty needs to know to keep his lips shut. Whether or not he caught on to it is unknown.
You just gonna let the lady in the evidence speak for you instead of you speaking for yourself?
I don't know, man.
Hmm?
I don't know, man. I'm talking about robbery, man. I don't do no robbery.
So what happened?
Hmm?
So what happened? If you don't do robberies, what happened?
That's all I'm trying to tell you. I don't do no robbery, so I don't know nothing about no robbery. Robbing people, nah, man. That ain't me. I ain't never robbed nobody else.
So when you went in there, did you think somebody was gonna be in the house?
But you, alright.
Scotty is doing the only thing he can do at this point to keep his freedom, which is denying the incident. But again, it would have been better to just let an attorney speak for you. Also, it's clear that at this point, Scotty has caught on to the fact that this detective is trying to ask questions that will place Scotty at the scene. And this is displayed by the exaggerated "Are you serious?" style grunt he lets out when he's asked his last question.
So when you went in there, did you think somebody was gonna be in the house?
But you, alright. But Detective Howard,
Mm-hmm.
he still working?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
This is a very interesting moment. This clearly indicates that Scotty is familiar with the detective at the station and has specifically asked where that detective was at. Again, this was a golden opportunity to find Detective Howell and let him know that Scotty wanted to speak to him, as it's clear Scotty was fishing to talk to that person because he's already familiar with them. But again, these detectives are not smart enough to get the hint.
How you know? You know him go way back?
Nah, he talked to me last time. That's the last person I talked to.
Oh, okay.
He just talking to me.
About what?
Nah, he just like questioning me and stuff.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a wild question. Who shot Charles McCormick or the 6 block dude who can't rap?
Who?
Right there at Merrill Road by Dunkin' Donuts.
You said somebody shot who?
A dude named Charles McCormick.
I don't know about it. No charge.
And once more, they've missed another golden opportunity to let a detective Scotty is familiar with talk to him. Not only does this create a barrier for the police, but could also be hindering the investigation at this point. Then we get Detective Dumbass number 2, who hasn't said anything the whole time, and then inserts a question here about Lil Buck being shot. Not only is this not successful, but it was very poorly timed as there is no rapport or trust between this officer and Scotty. So why even ask the question in the first place?
I don't know nothing about that. Because I worked in robbery. So I'm asking you about the home invasion where your DNA came back. Don't take a ride without giving your side of the story, man. Because if it's something different to the story, we need to get that from you and get your side of the story. Like I'm saying, you're not helping me, man.
Well,
Because I already got enough, because I got a warrant for your arrest. So you're not helping me. This is to help you. And I know you might have heard that talking to other people, but I'm being legit with you. This is to help you.
I guess this is this detective's attempt at playing the bad cop, but again, he didn't say anything other than basically beg for a statement. Scotty has said multiple times he wishes he could help, which implies he is looking for them to help him, but these detectives are too dumb to just say to Scotty, hey, if you offer us something, we'll offer you something. Instead, it's, we have enough to put you away for who knows how long. If that was true, Scotty would not be in this room.
All right, man. I'll put it to you this way. I know you didn't shoot anybody that day. I know you weren't driving the car that day. I'll tell you that right now. Now, he's being nice and he's not playing with you. He has enough, just without you not to say shit, to put you away for who knows how long. We know you're there in one way than one. So he's literally trying to give you like a lifeline right here, and you literally just kind of like spitting in his face. So it's literally your best chance to tell him what you know, or tell your side of the story.
What story y'all talking about?
He's clearly asking you how your DNA ended up on that lady the day at her house. You know, the shit ain't just fall out of the sky. Like, you had to be there at some point, right?
You said my DNA on,
Yes.
on somebody?
Yes. Alright. Leroy, can I call you Scotty? I know it's your nickname. Alright. We can play that game too. This happened back in January. We haven't been sitting on our hands not working this case. We know a lot more than he's letting on. So, literally, you sitting here not saying anything is really not helping you. You're literally the least culpable in all of this. It's sad that she's going to sit here and try to take it. We ain't pick your name out of a random hat. Like, there's a reason we knew you were there. We can prove you were there. And we can keep going in the circles all day if you want to.
So what's up, man? So what's up? What happened? I don't know what happened before. Why y'all went to the house? But what happened while y'all was inside the house?
What was y'all?
Come on, man. You already know what I'm talking about. You already know I done talked to the other person that was with you.
Man, you tripping. No, you ain't talking.
I ain't tripping. I'm telling you what I know.
If you ask me, this was Scotty's second fatal mistake. One, not only did he not deny it this time when he was asked when confronted with the idea that these detectives may have talked to his co-defendant, he says they didn't talk. This implies that he knows who else they could be talking to, further implying that he does in fact know what situation the detectives are talking about. It's these type of non-verbal cues that can really get you caught up. Again, this question wouldn't have gotten a response if an attorney was present.
No, man. I don't know what y'all talking
I especially like the part where you bust your ass on that fence. Do love that. There's a camera in someone's backyard. It caught y'all going over fences, and I believe you're the one that busted his ass.
That was him that fell?
Yeah, that was him.
What?
You jumped a fence like it was a hurdle, and like a lot of people hit jump hurdles, you didn't make it, and your back right leg got clipped, and you did a roll, like you busted your ass a little pretty hard. But you got up and took it like a champ. I ain't gonna lie to you. You took that shit like a champ.
He got up quick.
I wish y'all knew.
Huh?
You don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all got the wrong guy.
Nah, got the right one.
What y'all talking about?
Scotty, you can't even look at us and tell us in our faces and say we don't have the right guy because we know we got the right guy. Because every time we ask you something that you want to answer, you look right down that floor. Ain't nothing down there. Trust me. The truth won't stay right here. Man telling you the truth. This shit ain't going away. I got a better chance to hit the lottery than your DNA end up in a random place on some woman. Alright, man. Alright, man. Well, Blue ain't gonna pick you up this time. I know that. Blue can't help you. Queso can't help you. Ain't nobody coming to pick you up, big dog.
I don't know what's who.
Alright, 904, 803. I forgot the rest. I know who's registered to. I can prove whose phone it was at the time. I can prove who had it at the time.
Had what?
A cell phone. Where you know your old number. That shit got cut off February 5th.
I ain't got no phone.
Yeah, I know, because your mom turned it off. Now, how I know that? Come on, bro.
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Alright.
At this point of the interrogation, this detective is clearly getting frustrated, and for a good reason. The only person who's received any information in this interrogation is Scotty, while he has offered the detectives nothing. Now he knows that they got his DNA, he knows that they got footage of him in someone's backyard, and he knows that they're trying to link it all to an old phone number. But what have the detectives got from Scotty? Absolutely nothing. For a man with no attorney, Scotty is playing it about as smooth as he can, to be honest.
Your mom already told us whose phone number it was when we asked her about it. When we came to your house looking for you, because I know you know about that.
No, I don't know. What time is it?
Yeah, about 11.
11:22. Special story that you keeping to? You don't know what we talking about?
I don't know.
Okay, I told you, you're not helping me, man. Ain't nothing to help with me, just to help you right now. You know the difference between a robbery and a burglary?
Hmm?
You know the difference between a robbery and a burglary? No? So robbery, say home invasion robbery, you going in with the intent to commit some type of crime. Like you going in with the intent to steal something out the house, to beat somebody up. Burglary, you going into a structure or a house that don't belong to you. You might not have the intent to rob nobody or hurt nobody, nothing like that. But you just going in, maybe to get away. I don't know.
Even if he said, yeah, that's the story, at this point, it wasn't his original statement. It's a statement made by a detective that the suspect agreed to and would be tossed out of court in a heartbeat. And this is a rookie mistake of this detective to put those words in his mouth if that is the story that happened. Because now if he ever admits to it, he can say he just got that story from the detective. Shame on this police officer.
There's a difference. And your story can probably decipher between the two when it comes to this incident. Like, what was your intention? We can only get that from you as far as what your intention was when you went in.
I never robbed nobody. Touch. Just told them.
All right, so what happened?
What you mean what happened? What you keep talking about happened? Just told you, man. Trying to help out, man. I don't know.
I told you you're not helping me, man. This for you.
I'm good. I'm good. Good.
So you good? So you good whatever come about with this without giving your side of the story?
I don't know what y'all don't know with that. What y'all talking about? I'm talking about me and with y'all, whatever y'all, I'm good. Good. That's how y'all want to ask me. Y'all got some more questions to ask me? But
There's plenty more to ask you, but you ain't gonna be honest about nothing. So it don't make sense to ask you if you ain't gonna be honest. Your DNA not gonna just end up in a random lady house that don't even know you, never seen you a day in her life.
what y'all doing? Tired as hell, man. Cold as hell. All type of crazy shit going on. Late.
Want to see if you can find you a blanket. Good.
I'm good. The lady said she ain't got anything.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, I'm talking about that lady. She said it wasn't no more.
Yeah. Who's Lenora? Who's Lenora? The tattoo on your arm. Who is that? That's what they say, Lenora? Who is that? I don't know who my mom is. That's my mom. Oh, I probably should ain't know for real. Yeah.
This was a solid attempt at building rapport, but completely undermined what the other detective said earlier in the interview when he said that he was talking to Scotty's mom about his phone. All this did was prove to Scotty that they in fact hadn't talked to his mom because they don't even know her name. A good attempt, but again, these detectives are met with failure to the highest degree.
You got any other new tattoos besides the Donald Duck on your right arm?
Who?
On your inside of your right arm, do you have any other new tattoos?
No. You guess more of them.
You gonna go for a sleeve on that right arm or what?
Yeah. Probably. In my face. Neck.
What you do the face tats for?
Hmm.
Why the face tats? I never understood that.
Because they interesting. Like, people know, like, tattoos on their face. I don't like it.
Shit looks painful.
So you gonna get some more on your face? No. Those hurt worse? Which one hurt worse? No, really? I don't know. Probably in the back of your neck. Yeah. You know that cat right now? You don't know him? Never seen him before? Never seen him a day in your life? You don't know him? So you don't know.
Now, I don't know who they showed him a picture of here, but it's clearly somebody he knows. This alone could be detrimental. For example, if they showed him a picture of, say, Queso, a person he's known to be affiliated with and has pictures and stuff with, then what it does is discredit Scotty. It shows that he's hiding something. And if this clip was played for a jury out of context, what it would do is create doubt about Scotty's character. This is another reason why you never talk to the cops, because any and everything will be used against you.
Just want to see how honest she was going to be with me, man. It's your life. Can't help nobody that don't want to get help.
Nah.
So that's your story. You sticking to it. You don't know what I'm talking about. No reason why your DNA would be in an old white nigga house that ain't never seen you before. You work on houses? You work on houses? In houses? Leroy, you work in houses?
Yeah.
Alright, man. Anything you want to add? No.
So you didn't do it, you weren't there, and you don't know nothing about that. That's what you want to go with. Sounds like a denial. That's sad. I'm tired of seeing the black guys run their lives away from you. Good fucking reason. Too young to do that, bro. Too young. 19 had a whole life ahead of you.
Don't let nobody else speak for you. As a man, you always speak for yourself, man. Don't let nobody else evidence and all that speak for you. Just man up and speak for yourself. That's what I say. Don't let nobody else speak for you, bro. If your reason for going in the house is one thing, hey, say, man, that was my reason. If it's something else, then say that. Don't just sit here and take whatever's thrown in your lap. That's what I say.
Yeah, you're 19, you're grown now, so you have to make your own decisions. So we can't make it for you.
You just gonna take what's being thrown in your lap? Leroy, you gonna just take what's being thrown in your lap? What happened, bro? So you're not gonna give your side of it? You're not gonna give your side of it?
I ain't got no side, because I don't know what side.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So they tried their hardest here to get him to break, but the detectives made several very serious and kind of sickening mistakes, but so did Scotty, like not getting an attorney. Because of this, Scotty remains locked up to this day. And although he said he would be good in this interrogation, his happily ever after may never come. Now there's a lot of crazy stories that I've covered with you guys here on the channel, but this one is definitely up there in ranks of crazy. And while a lot of people have made content around ATK and KTA, I noticed a lot of bloggers have shied away from talking about the other people involved in these crimes and gangs. Maybe that's because they just can't find the details, but I find these stories of these guys that aren't the famous rappers but are still involved with everything going on to be just as interesting as the other stories. It's a really tragic tale almost every time I do a whole story video, but these stories and the stories of their victims are stories that need to be told. Y'all let me know if y'all rock with this type of content, especially with the long breakdown of the interrogation footage at the end. I may end up doing more like that. Damn, bruh. This video was long as fuck. But they're always fun to make, so I'm gonna keep on making them. I just really wanted particularly feedback on the end where we did the breakdown of the interrogation, because I can do more of those. All these rappers got interrogation footage, but yeah, anyways, that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, hit the like button, drop me a comment in the comment section down below, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. As always, it's been fun rocking with y'all, man. I'm out.